Hey guys, what's up? It's Joe Rady from Rady's Rides. I'm back here at Jaguar of Clearwater because guess what? They just got another fresh Jag rolled right off the truck. This is the 2020 F-Pace, and as you can see, it's got those famous letters SVR. So what that means is underneath this hood is some awesomeness, that 550 horsepower supercharged V8. But we're gonna get to this in a second. Let's talk a little bit about Jaguar history. Jaguar has been around since 1922. So many iconic models, from the XK120 all the way to those D-type Jaguars. They had some Le Mans victories there, 24-hour Le Mans victories. Well, guess what? You could have that heritage, you could have that tradition, and you could drive a car, or I should say SUV like this, every single day and get ultimate performance and style. That's gonna help separate you from the sea of SUVs. So let's go ahead, dive into this F-Pace. So right off the bat, I love the color. This blue in the sun has a nice shine to it and a bunch of metallic flake. You can see the very distinctive headlights, full LEDs with your daytime running lamps. Since this is the SVR, we're talking about ultimate performance. Look at the massive functioning openings at the front end of this grille. You can see that you have the open grille here and your air curtains, which is gonna channel air down the side as we come across the front. That iconic Jaguar grille. I really like the shape of the actual grille. It really does have a nice look, and I think it was very smart the way they have matching top and bottom. There's your Jaguar logo. I miss, when I was a kid, I miss seeing the old Jags that were those hood ornaments. Such an iconic logo, but you know what? Because of aerodynamics and all the other rules that they have nowadays, that is your Jaguar badging. There's our SVR logo, so that stands for Special Vehicle Operations. That's gonna be that designation, that separate entity within Jaguar that produces all that performance. Love the look. The only thing I wish it did have was a little bit more of a lower splitter down here, just to set off the aggressiveness. But from one side to the other, really has a distinctive look. Now, as we go up under the hood, I love what's going on here. You have your two raised midsections, really gives it that nice muscle look that you want to see from a 550 horsepower vehicle. And then you have functional heat extractors. Like the way that they are a nice flat metallic grayish color rather than say a gloss black or something like that. Coming around the bend, here's where the goodness just continues. Love these wheels, man. Gloss black wrapped in these Pirelli tires. This is one heck of a design. When you're looking at this wheel, this is a 22-inch wheel, massive calipers, bright red with the Jaguar logo. That's gonna clamp down on those rotors. I'm telling you right now, this thing, even though it's an SUV, it's gonna perform like a freaking sports car. I even like the little touches of the SVR badging on there, and then there's our same Jaguar logo, and I think it just looks brilliant. Red caliper, black wheel with that blue paint. Spot on. Now, as we come into the fender, you have some functional heat extractors on the hood, functional venting on the side as well, also finished in that flat metallic silver grayish color. Now, going into the roofline, we have the color brought onto the mirrors, very, very slim, smoked out turn signals, which is a nice touch. A little bit of gloss black. This one has a nice panoramic style sunroof, and you can see the distinctive body lines. I like what's happening up top, but I'm also liking what's happening on the bottom, especially with that lower sill that extends out. Now, as we continue, you can see how the rear quarter window comes to a nice point, and we wrap it around back. One thing I want to point out, look at how they add that extra material because of the extra width of those wheels and tires. Nice low roof spoiler that actually has an additional spoiler on top of it. So this is a functional piece, and then really to match the aggressiveness of the front end of the business, the tail end of the business is just as sexy. Functioning quad exhaust tips. These aren't for looks, they're not fake, they're fully functional. You got your F-Pace logo, the SVR badging. The only thing I don't like are those reflectors in the widened out areas of the rear, but you know what? At least they didn't put like a big, huge fake vent or something, but I wish they would have just left this blue. I think it would have looked even better, a little bit more cohesive. But why don't we go ahead, pop the hood, and check out that supercharged V8. All right, guys, we got the hood popped. I just want to point out, just so you know I wasn't fibbing, those are functional vents on the hood, as you can see. Underneath the hood, though, I love this intake plenum. That is a piece of beauty. What you're staring at is a 5-liter V8, supercharged power, 550 horsepower, 502 pound-feet of torque. It's all mated through an 8-speed automatic transmission. If you like fast SUVs, this thing is plenty fast. 0 to 60 in 4 seconds, top speed around 178 miles an hour. If you're worried about MPGs, you're probably looking at the wrong SUV, but 16 in the city, 21 in the highway. It weighs around 4,800 pounds. What can I say? This is performance. One thing I want to point out is I want to have Tom focus on this section of the engine right here. That is the pulley for your supercharger. So the supercharger routes from here on the pulley into the intake plenum. That's going to help churn that air like butter and force feed this engine to produce this power. Another thing I want to point out, check out the adaptive suspension. You can see this wiring here going to the top of the shock tower mounts. That's going to tell you that this thing, when you put it into different modes, is actually going to adjust the suspension depending on what you're trying to accomplish. But if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's hear this Jaguar scream. All right, guys, we're inside the 2020 Jaguar F-Pace. I know you're probably wondering, Joe, I like fast SUVs. How much, though, does this one cost? The way that this one sits, you're looking at MSRP of $92,000. Let's see what you get for the money to the door panels. Now, I like what they did with the door panels, especially on this one. You have a nice white colored leather, that beautiful carbon fiber. That is real carbon fiber. That is not just fake for show. That's the real deal stuff. I like the brushed aluminum around the door handle and also the switch gear on top of the door panel to open, to raise and lower the window. Very nice touches. Now, as we come to the dash, solid material, just like on the door, there's that white contrast stitching, the brushed aluminum. Look at the Jaguar logo in here. The only thing that I'm gonna zonk so far is there's no SVR badge in here. You gotta have an SVR badge. This is a special vehicle. The owners of this deserve that. Now, when we get to the infotainment system, this is a 10-inch screen. Pretty quick navigating through it. And since I talked about navigation, you hit the navigation, there it is. You could go through your different things to try to search for. You got all your seat controls with the temperature and everything built in. You want cameras? We got cameras. So you're gonna hit the camera button here. You can see 360, or you could go out the front. There we are. Driver's side, passenger side, all that kind of stuff. Look at that. There's that venting I was telling you about. Very clear, very crisp. Now, as we drop down, you got your dual climate control, obviously ventilated and heated seats. Here's your start-stop button. And then look at this illustrious carbon fiber. This is controlling that 8-speed automatic transmission. I like the nice little cubby here for your phone. You got your different buttons that's gonna help get you through the different modes, which I'll show you that in a second. You also have the ability to open and close the exhaust. So you have active exhaust, can open and close. Look at this nice, tasteful lid for the cup holders, electric e-brake, a harder armrest, but you know what? The leather is absolutely beautiful. You open it up, there's your USB, all your connectivity very nicely placed in the back. And then really the crescendo for the passenger especially are these seats. These things are right out of a race car. I love the style, I love the black with the white coloring. Look at the nice Jaguar logo. There's our SVR logo in the actual headrest. All one piece back, and you know what? Perfect amount of bolstering. Not too tight to where you can't drive it every day, but just enough that, guess what? When you're ready to turn up that wick, you can let it all hang up. Nice microfiber suede up top, and there's our panoramic sunroof. Why don't you though come over to the business end and I'll show you behind the wheel of this Jaguar SVR. All right guys, sitting behind the business end, you have obviously full position electric seating for both the driver and passenger. There's that wonderful sill. I'm gonna peel it up a little bit. Look at that. Those are the touches I like to see. I'll put it back, good as new. Behind the wheel, love the wheel. The size of it's great. I like the perforated on the side. You have your SVR badging. There's that Jaguar I was telling you about. I remember as a kid being in my father's shop, seeing those hood ornaments. I loved them. Brushed aluminum, and I also like the paddles. They are a nice size. On the back of the wheel, I would prefer to have them attached to the actual steering column, but even the nice little aluminum touches on the stalks for your windshield wipers and turn signals. The best part though, besides the wheel, is that dash. You can see it's a nice 12-inch screen, full color. Watch as I go through the different drive modes. So right now I'm in comfort. Here's dynamic. You see how the instrumentation is red. You're ready to race. You could even do in here, if you're feeling like you want to save the environment for a day, you could go into eco mode and do that. But I like the way it's got different settings for whatever your road conditions are, and I also like the way it has the navigation in the actual driver display besides on the infotainment system. 6 feet tall, plenty of headroom, frameless mirror, on point. Let's go ahead and check out the back seats and see how your passengers are going to be enjoying that track day sitting in the back. All right, guys, I'm telling you, I would not mind being piloted by somebody around a racetrack sitting back here. Tons of room, even with the panoramic going all the way back. I got plenty of headroom. You can see the one-piece backs. To save weight, they put some netting. I'm going to zonk that. I'm not really into netting unless I'm going to catch some fish or something like that. Little command center with your rear AC vents. Look at the touches, Jaguar on the actual handle to control the venting and whatnot. Little touches. Heated seats, and then of course you're gonna have full connectivity back here. Very nicely placed. If you want an armrest, guess what? They got you covered. This is nice and soft. 2 cup holders, and I like the way that they kept that same wonderful material from front to back. Why don't we though check out the cargo area and see what you could haul very, very quickly in this F-Pace SVR. All right, guys, let's check out the back cargo area of the F-Pace. One thing you'll notice is there's a lot of room back here because look at all the stuff. When you buy a Jaguar, they treat you like royalty. You have your interior car cleaning products. You have obviously your locking lug nuts, nicely set up floor mats. I mean, the list goes on and on and on, but there's plenty of room. The seats are going to do the 60-40 split. You have a 12-volt connectivity back here, and you could obviously option in, or I'm sure it's probably in one of these boxes, a nice cargo net. But there is quite a bit of room, especially when you put the seats down. And you know what? That's what you want from your SUV. But with this SUV, you'll be able to haul your stuff 0 to 60 in 4 seconds. But why don't we go ahead? We've talked about the performance. Let's go experience what this F-Pace SVR is all about. All right, guys, we're leaving Jaguar Clearwater. We're in the 2020 F-Pace SVR, and I'm gonna go ahead and get on that loud pedal. Like a rocket, you are launched. Unbelievable, the pickup in this thing, the sound, that throaty exhaust, of course, coming from that V8. Getting the traction to the ground is so simple and easy, and it just snaps through that 8-speed with ultra fast shifts. Now you can use the paddles, which we'll play with those in a second, but just want to get my bearings real quick on the inside of this car. Very comfortable. And I'm telling you, whatever they're using for sound deadening, it really quiets up the inside very nicely. I love the appointments on the steering wheel. The buttons are out of the way, but you know what? If you need to get to your heated steering wheel or any of the cruise control settings and whatnot, it's very easy to get to. Like the instrumentation in front of me, and even the nice large 10-inch screen here is very easy to see at a glance. Visibility, you know what? Even out that back window, I was a little worried, especially being it's slanted. It's not the best, but it's still totally manageable. This is a vehicle for sure that you could drive every day and have all that power. Nice looking heads-up display. It almost looks like a hologram. It's pretty cool. Telling you your speed, telling you what the speed limit is, just to keep you in tabs. I like the way the hood bulge, you could clearly see from the driver's side of the business here. And even the dash, it's quite pushed away from you and it's nice and low to give you a good sight line out the front. So back on throttle, power down. Jeez, this thing. On the brakes, those massive calipers clamping down those rotors, great feedback. Tip it in. Nicely done. Look at this. Look at this. The sound of the shifts. And I like the way that it's holding line. Remember, I'm in an SUV. I'm not in a sports car. And this thing is handling like a sports car. Very nicely set up. I do have it in obviously the mode that's going to give us the best, that race mode that's going to give us the best thing, but you can come back and you could go in that race mode. Jaguar calls it dynamic. So I definitely was feeling very dynamic at that moment as we were going through those twisties. One thing I would like, I know everything seems to be perfect, but what I'm going to zonk is I wish there was just a little bit more weight to the steering wheel, especially in dynamic mode, and just a tad more feedback. I think that would be the icing on the cake. Am I asking too much from an SUV? I don't think so, not if it has the letters SVR attached to it. But boy, I'm telling you, this thing gets up and goes. Really smooth too. The power delivery is so smooth, and that's the great thing about when you're driving a supercharged vehicle compared to a turbocharged vehicle, is that you are not really waiting for any of that boost to build up. It's you're already there and you're gone. So that's really the wonderful thing about that. All right, guys, going into this little bend here, downshift. I'm shifting with the paddles. On the brakes, give it a quick downshift. Look at this. Like the way the car balances the power from one side to the other. Brakes are working great. Really nice and smooth. You hear the blipping of that throttle when you hit the paddle. Very nicely done. All right, guys, just to give you a little bit more here. Really love just the balance of the car. The car from front to back has really great feedback, and it really is balanced and makes you feel like you could do no wrong. I also like that when you're in manual shift mode, it tells you what gear that you're in, not only on the dash, but also in the heads-up display, which is a nice thing. Let's talk about how comfortable it feels. Seats are great. They hug you like a newborn baby, just like a mother hugged you as soon as you were born. Very comfortable though. That's the great news, is that they do hold you, but they're not squeezing you. So I do really like that. I also think it was smart to have flat black around the screen opening here. That is gonna help with glare. I think if that was gloss black, it would actually cause glare onto the screen. Everything is within finger's reach, which is very nice and wonderful. You have this little side pocket on each side where you could put a phone or something like that. You know, but this is a bad SUV. This is something that when you get the right engineers and the right people who have heart and want to build something that performs like nothing else, this Jaguar F-Pace SVR is exactly what the doctor ordered. Really smooth. I love the sound when you click that paddle to go to the next gear. The sound when the exhaust just, it's so amazing. And that's what this car is about. It's about the experience. You could go buy another SUV. You could get them for cheaper. You get them with less horsepower. But this one has just a personality to it that makes you say, hey, I'm a car enthusiast, or just an enthusiast of anything fast, whether it's a car, SUV, truck, plane, crane, boat, helicopter. This thing does it all. So very, very, very impressed. All right, guys, it's been one of those days where you're just like, hell yeah, that was an amazing experience. This Jaguar definitely opened my eyes. I'm sure it opened yours. I definitely got to thank Phil and everybody here at Jaguar Clearwater for letting us take out the baddest Jaguar SUV ever available, and something that could go up against a lot of other performance SUVs. But if these are the types of things that you like to see on Rady's Rides, leave a comment in the comment section. If you're new to the channel and you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile coming back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you. Thank you for being part of the Rady's Rides family. If you want to help us keep making great content just for you on Rady's Rides, click the link in the description, get yourself some Rady's Rides merch. We got the all-new Zonk shirt, so you definitely want to take advantage of that. Speaking of taking advantage, I'm not taking advantage of him. I know he'll probably put me in a headlock. Big Guns McGee, Tom Moschner, taking advantage of that camera to bring this beautiful SVR just to you. Check him out at Mosh Photos on Instagram. It might surprise you to see the softer side of Tom, believe it or not. Anyways, just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.